now I'd like to introduce Carrie Harrison of Ibex Insurance, and she will be talking to you about the private healthcare available in Spain and the various terms connected with that.
Thank you very much for the introduction. My name is Carrie Harrison. I'm the health specialist for Ibex Insurance. Just quickly, a little bit about Ibex. Ibex Insurance Services Limited is an international broker that's been established for over 20 years, since 2000. We work with several different insurers across the general insurance market, so we can offer things from car insurance, home insurance, house insurance, for example. We have 9 offices across Spain, 2 in Portugal, and our head office is in Gibraltar. We are governed by the Gibraltar Insurance Association and also by the Financial Services Commission in Gibraltar, where we're fully authorised. I deal with all the health insurance for Spain, and that's what I'd like to touch on for you today, just to go through. If you're thinking of moving to Spain at the moment, in order to obtain residency, as my previous panelists have advised, you need to have private medical insurance or access to healthcare in Spain. So if you have access through self-employment or through a job that you have or through the S1, that's fine. However, if you don't, then you will be expected to have private medical insurance. Now, there are many different products on the market with different insurers and different levels. So it is very important to make sure when looking that you look at the level that is right for the residency requirements in your area. So at the moment, in order to obtain residency here in Spain, you're looking to have a product that covers you for inpatient cover, outpatient, hospitalization and surgery, and it must have no co-payments or excesses, or in Spain, copagos. So it's very important that it has no excess on the policy. So like I say, there are many policies out there, many that have excesses, which tend to be slightly cheaper premiums, but may not be the right fit for residency. So it's important to know that. Also, when you apply for your residency, your insurer should provide you in Spanish with a certificate of guarantee, which will need to detail the covers of the policy you have and also clearly state that this policy has no excesses or co-payments. So that's the level that we're looking for if you're looking to become a resident of Spain. So now that we know what you're looking for, I'd just like to talk a bit about the 2 main types of product that are on offer here in Spain. So the first would be a direct billing product, and the second a reimbursement. So I'll just run through this for you. So the most popular product in Spain, sold by most of the Spanish domestic providers, is a direct billing product. This is where you will pay a premium for your policy, and the insurer will give you access to an approved list of doctors, hospitals, clinics, specialists, for example. Now, your policy will cover you for treatment and for using any of the services, providing they are on that approved list that they have. And how it works is you would go to an approved medical centre in your area, and you would show them proof of your colour or your membership card. You would receive treatment, and then the medical centre would then bill the insurer direct. So you don't have to pay for anything, get invoices, and if you have no co-payments or excess, there shouldn't be anything to pay. This is the most popular product because of its convenience. It's easy. Most of the insurers have a very large network list that cover most areas, and it's convenient for most. Although the insurers do offer the cover to the expat market and sell it as English speaking where appropriate, it is important just to realise that most of the general medicine doctors on these lists are English speaking or can speak English. But once you then get referred to certain specialist areas such as cardiology or dermatology, the more specialist the medical area, sometimes the less the English is spoken. So you may have to take a translator. They can't guarantee English speaking at all times. Another thing to consider is the medical list in your area. So it may be that the insurer that you're looking at has an approved doctor just down the road, but it may be that the nearest one is in the next town or a 20 to 30-minute drive away. So before purchasing anything, you need to really look at what's accessible for you to use on these lists in your area. And also, some insurers only have medical network lists in certain provinces or in certain areas. So if you live in the northwest of Spain, for example, they may have some medical lists in that area, but they don't cover all of Spain. Whereas some other insurance companies offer medical facilities across the whole of Spain, including the Canary and Balearic Islands. So if you travel throughout Spain a lot, or you go on holiday in the islands, then it might be worthwhile taking a product with an insurer that has medical facilities in this area. If you take it with an insurer that only has it in certain provinces, you'd have to wait till you got back to those provinces to have treatment. Whereas if you're, let's say, on holiday for a weekend in Barcelona, and your insurer has no medical list in Barcelona, you'd have to wait till you got home for treatment. Whereas if they do have an extensive list across Spain, you could just simply go to the nearest hospital or medical centre in Barcelona. So these are all things to consider when looking at this product. But as I say, this tends to be the most competitively priced product because the insurers will have already pre-approved prices with these doctors, hospitals and clinics on their list, so they know roughly what costs are. So this is the first type of product. The second type is called a reimbursement policy. This tends to be offered more by the international providers, but also by some domestic providers too. However, they tend to cover a larger area rather than just Spain, more European coverage or worldwide, for example. These policies tend to be slightly more expensive because you have the choice to choose your own hospital, clinic or doctor within your area. So if you have a European policy, you could choose to see a dermatologist in France, for example. And obviously the insurer doesn't know what the costs are likely to be, so they tend to rate the premiums on this type of product a bit more. These products are very good for people who require full English speaking services because you yourself can choose the doctor or clinic to make sure they speak English. However, on a reimbursement policy, how it works is as an outpatient or a day patient where you're not admitted into hospital, you would be expected to pay for the treatment yourself and obtain an invoice, a medical report, which you would then submit to the insurer and look for reimbursement back. If you were to be hospitalized or have an operation that costs a significant amount of money that you couldn't be expected to pay first, then the insurer would send a letter of guarantee to the hospital confirming how much coverage you have, or in this case, they may set up direct billing on this occasion. So these policies tend to be, as I say, more expensive, but guarantee more English speaking. So again, it's something to think about. Whereas the domestic products on the medical network list, they do offer quite a lot of English services, but they cannot always guarantee. Okay. Another question I'm asked is, if somebody takes a European policy, once the UK leave the EU, will their policy still be valid? The answer is, even after the UK leave the EU, geographically, the UK is in Europe, so your policy will be unaffected and you still can use that product. And again, for people who don't spend the full year in Spain and who want to do 6 months maybe in the UK, 6 months in Spain, this product is good to cover you in both areas. And again, you would need to take a policy with no excess, which is available. So there are the two main types of policy that are on the market that we can look at for you. But I just wanted to run through some types of underwriting that are on offer. I won't go into it too much detail because it's quite a lot, and you can always come to me for, after the webinar for any questions on this. But what you need to consider as well is if you have any pre-existing medical conditions, before you move to Spain, it's very important to look at what options of underwriting are available to you. So the main, most popular underwriting, which is used by most of the Spanish providers on these direct billing products, is called fully medical underwriting. So this is where you would fill in an application with the insurer and you would declare all of your pre-existing medical conditions for your medical history. You don't usually need a medical itself, but the onus is on you to declare your pre-existing conditions. Now, a pre-existing condition is anything that you have been diagnosed with and received treatment for, even if it's diabetic treatment, a certain diet or physiotherapy, as well as medication or an operation. So once you've filled in all of your pre-existing conditions, the insurer will then look at certain factors such as your height, your weight, your age, and they will then determine what terms they can offer you on the product. Most of the time, the insurer may impose an exclusion on the product, so to not cover a pre-existing condition, and in some cases, they may not be able to offer cover at all. Most of the Spanish domestic providers will exclude pre-existing medical conditions. And this is usually done either through a general exclusion in the policy wording of the product, or they may write an even more specific exclusion as part of the policy contract itself. So it's very important to look at the policy terms and conditions of the product to check if you have pre-existing conditions. Again, for people who are just looking to come over and gain residency and they are not as worried whether or not they have this condition covered, this is still a product that they can take, but it is still important to consider. The next type of underwriting is called moratorium underwriting, which usually has a 2-year period. And what this means is any pre-existing condition is usually excluded for the first 2 years. If during those 2 years you are symptom-free, checkup-free, and medication-free, then the insurer may consider fully covering that condition after the moratorium period. This tends to be offered by more international companies, but it's particularly good for people who may have had conditions in the past, such as cancer, where they've been given the all clear and they are now medication-free, checkup-free, and symptom-free, but they're concerned that in the future a form of cancer may return, either the same one or a different one, and they would like to have this covered in the event that this happens in the future. And the last type of underwriting is if you currently have private medical insurance in the UK, before you actually cancel a policy, it's very important to consider what options you have. So if you have current insurance that you are receiving treatment for a pre-existing condition, depending on certain criteria and the insurer, some of the international insurers may consider what's called a switch or a CPME underwriting, which is continuing personal medical exclusions. So basically, they will consider transferring over the cover that you have with your insurer in the UK over to your new policy, but this is dependent on certain criteria. However, if there's a break in cover of even just 1 day, then this option is not available. So a lot of people think, I'll cancel my health cover in the UK and then I'll get to Spain and start looking at health insurance. By doing that, you are limiting your options because you need to really look before you get to Spain. Obviously, this type of underwriting is a lot more costly because if they do consider transferring the cover over, they're going to be taking on more risk, so the premium will be subjective to that. But again, it's just something to consider if you have certain pre-existing conditions that you do want covered. So, not to bore you with all the underwriting terms, but basically, when you're looking at coming over and becoming a resident, there is usually a product available that we can offer you. Obviously, this all depends on you as an individual because everybody has a different medical history. Everybody has different requirements they want to meet. I have a lot of people say to me, my friend down the pub only pays X amount for their insurance, which is fine, but obviously they may have different medical conditions to you. So what we try to do is, like Joanne Alderton said earlier, we try and get to know you, get to know what you're looking for, what your budget is or what you're looking to spend, why you need the cover, and also although you're looking for the cover to get residency, you'll be purchasing this cover anyway, so you want to make the most of it and make sure that you've got the right cover. We want to look at if it includes preventative checks, such as well man or well woman checks, where you can have your prostate checked, your mammogram, smear tests. So we want to make sure you're getting the most out of the product you're taking anyway. And as I say, all the insurers offer different covers, different levels. So there's quite a lot of important information to consider, which is why we suggest you come to a broker such as Ibex Insurance, and that we can make this quite easy for you. We can go through everything. Obviously, a lot of the documents for residency have to be provided in Spanish to take to your appointment, but where possible, we will provide equivalents in English to help you understand what you're purchasing and how to use your policy. We'll help you look at the medical network in your area to see where the nearest English-speaking doctors are, and we'll basically just talk you through the whole process as best we can. That's pretty much it on the medical cover. I can't really excuse me, give you general prices because it's so specific to your age, the province you're in, the level that you want. A lot of people put on expat forums on Facebook, we can offer from this price. I wouldn't want to give you a price that is not going to be anywhere near what you're looking for, because it might not be the right product for you. But obviously, please contact us if you would like a quote or to go through the underwriting in more detail to match up what you're looking for. We have, like I say, 9 offices in Spain. You can visit in person. You can contact us on our website, www.ibexinsured.com. Nigel will have all of my contact information. And like I say, we can help you through the private medical insurance section for your residency to get you the best cover for your medical history. And that's pretty much it, really, Nigel, unless you'd like me to cover anything else.
Carrie, I've just got one question from somebody here. They're basically saying that they're retiring to Spain, they are moving towards 70, and is age a major factor in being able to obtain private healthcare at a reasonable cost?
Age is a factor, of course. They look at your height, your age, your weight, etc. It depends on the insurer. We work with a panel of over 14 insurers, both Spanish and domestic. And we have companies that have different age brackets. So some will have a maximum contractual age of 65. We have some with 75. And we also have some insurers with no age bracket. But obviously, it depends. The cover tends to be, the higher the age bracket, sometimes obviously the premium is linked to that. And also the cover. But we do have products with no age bracket. But again, it depends what you're looking for and what you're looking to pay.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.